start, he has to start from somewhere. And to start from somewhere, the best place to start is the beginning.
Yes.
And, you know, and by the way, before we go ahead, let me give a background to the people listening. And it's a more important reason why you should subscribe to our channel. This is a special. It's a Middle Ground podcast special, and we are going to be focusing majorly on the historical background and how we got to where we are. I listen to a lot of people, and most times Gen Zs. Now, I would remember that, and I don't know when anybody's watching this, I will remember that as we are immediately after the 2023 general elections, I heard, and it was in the news, that some people, most especially Gen Zs, went to the military headquarters and said they should take over. You know, this kind of, and I'm like, you people don't know where I'm coming from, where we are coming from. But I remember these people were not even born then. And Dr. Majid, it would interest you to know that there are people of your age bracket, my age bracket, that don't even understand how we got here. A lot of people are of the opinion that, look, the colonial masters just came in and just looked at some different people from different places and just say, how can we make money? The best way to make money as colonial masters is just gather Yoruba people, Hausa people, and Yoruba people, and just, you know, administer them and make money. Royal Niger, all this. So some white people just came together and just brought different people together for their own economical interests. But, you know, with the help of people like you, you've shared different materials with me that have really opened my eyes to even, and big shout out to my people in Ondo State, my parents. My daddy really did not live long enough to sit me down and say, this is what Nigeria is. And I can tell that a very large chunk of the percentage of people of my age, of your age, are also in these shoes. So the idea behind this 13 episode special, which with your help, we are still trying to come up with a name. I called it Niger Link. You said is the link that bind Nigeria, or the screw that link Nigeria. But whatever it is, we are just going to give it a name. Don't worry. The montage, you see the name. Now, is it true? Because, hey, in our schools, what we are taught to, I think till now, to a large extent till now, is that, look, we are different people, and the colonial masters came and put us together. Now, is this true? Now, when I say is this true, let's start from the beginning. What was it? Is it true that we were different people? Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo. Is it true? We did not have anything to do with each other. We didn't interrelate. We didn't intertrade. We didn't fight wars. We didn't argue. We didn't have issues. We didn't intermarry. What was it like? I need you to, from the most basic, from your perspective, what was it like? And I'm not going to say we should start from somewhere. Let you say it, to the best of your knowledge. And by the way, Dr. Dairu Majid is the team lead for Luke Stera. Sorry, please. Help me.
Leadership Foundation.
Luke Stera Leadership Foundation. Thank you. And I know I might not capture it totally, but Luke Stera Leadership Foundation is a faith-based institution that teaches leadership through
Integrity.
Thank you. Those are the words. You teach leadership through integrity. And one of the things that you always hammer on is a good leader is not from one particular place. It can be from anywhere. A good leader is a good leader, and we should all strive to be good in our own small space. So you are an expert in judge of character. I'll put it that way. Am I wrong?
Well, I wouldn't say expert, but just to be modest.
To be
Let's
modest.
just say we have some fundamental
understanding
of
of what it is.
Some of these issues
Now,
we're trying to discuss.
So, Dr. Majid, help me out here. Help us out here. All of us, Nigeria.
I think
how did we get here?
It has been a dilemma of some sort. Yes, like you rightly pointed out, the narrative has been entrenched that Nigeria's problems of insecurity, absence of welfare for citizens, and all of the myriad of problems we have faced in this country, leadership crisis and all, was as a result of colonialism, the colonial experiment of bringing very different people without anything in common, lumping them in a country called Nigeria for the benefit of the British colonial masters.
AKA Niger area.
And that nobody was consulted when this was done. And so that has been the foundational problem that has stunted the growth and development of Nigeria 63 years after independence. And most people believe that you need to restructure Nigeria and probably align it with pre-existing ethnic nationalities so that they can take control of their resources and their destiny through what some people have described as self-determination and all sorts of other narratives. And so sometimes we tend to blame our current situation on our past. But you ask a very fundamental question. Is it actually true that this is the situation? Is this the case? Well, it is important to take a journey back into time to interrogate this entrenched narrative that says that before 1914, that the constituent peoples of Nigeria do not have anything in common until the British colonial authorities amalgamated the northern part of this country and the southern part into the modern Nigerian state. That claim is actually not true. In fact, contrary to that claim, the constituent peoples of Nigeria have interacted from time immemorial, from a time nobody can actually put a date on.
So which means we can start from any time?
Somebody can actually say at what point the interaction started. We've interacted within this space and beyond into neighboring countries like Niger, like Benin Republic, Cameroon, and Chad for as long as anybody can recall. So Nigerians, whether you are Yoruba, whether you identify as Igbo, Hausa, Efik, Ibibio, there has been interactions long before the British man came.
What did the British meet? What did they merge? Since there was no Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo before they came through. So what did they merge?
Okay, first, the British met existing kingdoms and city-states, and even empires. Because you read about the Oyo Empire.
Yeah, so I'm going to leave a link to some write-ups about the Oyo Empire in case you want to read more about it. But we are going to try our best to touch the important parts of all these empires.
So you heard of the Oyo Empire, whose influence spread across much of what you now know as Yoruba land or Southwest.
Okay.
Into places like Benin Republic. In modern day Benin Republic. You also had the Benin Empire, whose influence spread to Lagos in the southwest part of Nigeria today. You had the Boronu Empire that dominated most of what now constitutes Boronu and Yobe states in the northeastern part of Nigeria. And of course, the largest of them all, the Fulani Empire, that stretches from Sokoto in the northwest down to the Cameroon Mountains in Adamawa. It encompasses a large land.
So you see, Dr. Majid,
yes.
There is this saying, that goes, if you never enter another man, Papa farm,
Yeah.
you go say now your Papa farm now in big pass.
Exactly.
So I used to think the Oyo Empire was the biggest.
You know, the Fulani Empire actually had, in terms of landmass,
Wow.
stretched, down to Ilorin, and was almost going to even conquer the Oyo Empire itself before they were stopped by the forces of the Alafin somewhere in Old Oyo. So, far-flung places like Bauchi, Kano, Zaria, Daura, across down to Nasarawa State, all over. That was the only empire that actually encompassed the 3 geopolitical zones of northern Nigeria. It is north central, northwest, and northeast. And surprisingly, a part of the Fombina Emirate of Adamawa, for example, extends to Cameroon.
Till now?
Yes, till now.
Wow.
And even the influence of the Sultan of Sokoto, who is like the titular head of the Fulani Empire, also extends to Niger Republic. And so, that's why at the beginning of the conversation, I told you that what constitutes Nigeria's cultural commonwealth extends beyond Nigeria itself. So with the influence of the Oyo Empire in Benin Republic, for example, with the influence of the Fulani Empire, or what you call the Sokoto Caliphate, into Niger, the Borno Empire into Chad, and of course, parts of the Fulani Empire still into Cameroon, tells you that Nigeria's cultural commonwealth cuts across not just the entire Nigerian length and breadth, but even across the border.
So even at these times,
yes,
when it was all about empire,
yes,
there was inter
relations, true trade, warfare, diplomacy. For example, during the jihad of 1804 that spread around what was known as Hausa land then, there was an attempt to take jihad to the Borno Empire. It was resisted. So through warfare, there was a contact between the Borno Empire and the Fulani Empire. Exchange of letters, correspondences, and then a peace treaty at the end of the day. Now there was a clash between the Oyo Empire and the Fulani Empire that was expanding southwards. It was a clash.
Yeah, I remember. So
and that is why Ilorin remains contentious till tomorrow.
Till tomorrow.
So this contact is what also gave rise to a unique identity for Ilorin in Nigeria, which is very interesting. Ilorin is
a Yoruba land.
Is Fulani, Yoruba speaking, to the extent that the Fulani inhabitants of Ilorin, including the monarchy of Ilorin, the emirates of Ilorin, the emirs of Ilorin, are Yoruba speaking, even though they are Fulani origin.
Okay, so now.
So the British came
and met people that have already mixed.
That is the point we always forget, because they learned from their own history of colonialism. They were colonized by the Roman Empire much earlier than we were. And so I'm one of those who believe that colonialism came too late in Nigeria and left too early. Because colonialism is actually one of the ways that nation states were birthed. It's a reality of life. You may not like colonialism, but the side effect of it is that it creates nation states. And it's not left for the constituent peoples themselves to further the strength and the unity of such nation states as a reality. So Britain had the same history with Nigeria as at 43 AD when they were being conquered by the Roman Empire. We were splintered into tribes, but living in the same location, essentially the same people. Celtic people, Welsh, those who call English today, But they didn't have a centralized authority. They didn't have a centralized rulership. They had, fragment of kingdoms here and there. And they didn't see themselves essentially as really, really the same because they were not aware of wider divisions. So they simply saw themselves as people in whatever form. And so that allowed the Roman Empire, that was a nation state of citizens. If you recall in the Bible, Apostle Paul was referred to as a citizen of Rome.
Yes.
Even though he's Jewish.
Yes.
Many people don't understand what that meant. It means that you could be Jewish by ethnicity or race and still be a member of the Roman nation. In the same sense today that you can be black and British, you can be Indian and British. It's citizenship.
Which led to a prime minister being a man of Indian descent.
Thank you. So that citizenship domestication in Rome, as at that time, strengthened Rome and made it the greatest empire in the world. Because it came from the strength of everybody. to build a nation that was outward looking. So we are going about conquering other people. While other barbaric tribes, as the Romans would like to describe others, were splintered along tribal fault lines and warring amongst themselves. So it made it easy for Romans to go over and conquer. So British were in that state too, barbaric. They were not so united. They didn't understand the concept of nation
Quote
states.
and unquote, just the way we are now. That's the way they were.
Then. So
AKA,
they came in here.
We are barbaric.
So they came in here. First, don't forget that what followed colonialism, what came before colonialism was slave trade. And slave trade, the Europeans didn't come into the interior to take anybody. They are the coast. It was Africans, they were stealing Africans and selling to them.
Wait, okay, so now, this is a point where I want us to stress about.
Yes.
And I've listened to some people, again, people of my age, older people. They've said, you see, this account that you're giving was something that was an afterthought when the colonial masters realized that, look, if we put it out there in the stories that we are the ones that went into their territory and start picking their people, we will be seen as thieves, as wicked people, all types of, again, the word barbaric ways of qualifying us. So let us sell the story that we actually did not steal. It was them that was stealing their people for us.
No.
And we being businessmen, we couldn't say no.
No.
Okay, so what happened?
Slavery in Africa before the white man came.
Oh, great.
The only thing is that when the white man came and the demand increased, it became something of an industrial scale. Because there was need for manpower to work in the new world that was just discovered by Europe, which is modern day American continent. American continent, not the South of America. So Britain had colonies there, France had, Spain had, Portugal, most of the European powers had territories in the New World. And so they needed workforce to actually cover the vast mineral and agricultural potentials of the entire America into wealth. And so they needed manpower because the native Indians were unwilling to work for the white man. They would rather die than work. And so they turned to Africa where they knew that these people actually had some form of slavery among themselves. Though in every tribe in Nigeria today, in every tongue, you have a native name for slavery. But you don't have a native name for same-sex marriage, for instance, because it's alien to Africa. So slavery wasn't alien to Africa, it was there. And so it was so convenient now to make extra money from it. And so the white man anchored on the coast, and Africa Bidubem went to the hinterland to import slaves and sold to them. So Africans must take full responsibility for transatlantic slave trade. It was perpetrated by Africans, with Africans as collaborators. And for me, the fact that the white man came here and you sold your own to him puts more responsibility on you for that
atrocity
than him, really.
Of course, because
he has nothing to lose.
He's not of his own
care.
He's sitting down there and you've come to the man to say, I got my brother and my sisters to sell, give you. In fact, I have some children of my neighbor too that I will sell. And the man looks at his account like, okay, how much do you have? I have some money. Right, take. Whether it's cowries, whether it's naira.
And so, when the industrial era set in, beginning from 1807, there was no longer need for slaves because machines have been actually invented. So the British Empire, again, under some pressure from within, so because some people felt that slavery is inhumanity, it's man's humanity to man. And so the British Empire decided to enforce a ban on slavery and now switch to what we call legitimate trade.
Which was another form of slavery.
Well, colonialism rather. It's a matter of, okay, go and cultivate your land. We need some of these raw materials from your territory that will feed our industries. And so they brought in their companies here, Royal Niger Company and go. And they began to explore, and utilize what we have here. Now, before colonialism proper started, it was preceded by the age of exploration. So the British government and some other concerned stakeholders in that country, particularly merchants, even missionaries, sent in explorers to explore the entire length and breadth of Africa. And Britain was not alone in this. most other European powers that
Portugal, I know Portugal.
Portugal, Spain, even France. They wanted to, Germany too, they wanted to know what the interior of sub-Saharan Africa looked like and what was life like in there. So they sent in anthropologists, sociologists, adventurers generally. They came in. So for example, it was Mungo Park who came in and explored for them the nature and form of the river Niger. They had a faint idea that there was a river that runs through the interior of West Africa, but they had no clear idea of
how to navigate it.
Its source and its terminal. So, of course, Mungo Park came in here under the sponsorship of some groups in the UK, and which is I call them his servants, the Lander brothers, Richard and John Lander. They accompanied him, and so he was able to trace the source of River Niger from the Senegal region. Now, it was on his way to that determinate terminus, where it terminates, that he died in the Buxa Rapids, somewhere in Niger State here. So, the exploration was continued by the Lander brothers, who now determined the fact that River Niger terminates into the Atlantic Ocean through the Niger Delta. So, that now made it possible for inland navigation of goods and services from Europe into the interior and outward export of raw materials too, through the same route. Now, they did all of these explorations and took judicial notes. They also explored the anthropology and the sociology of the people. Enough for the British to now realize that, okay, there are three major cultural groups in this Niger area. Three. That was how they arrived at the three major groups. We didn't bestow on us their status as major groups, though. For example, they looked at the people that you now know as Yorubas of the Southwest, the legacy states of the Oyo Empire. They looked at their culture, their
practices,
everything, and decided that, look, from this part of the country to this part, these are Yorubas, essentially. And so they popularized that notion that, okay, these people are Yoruba. Even though before then, Yoruba didn't see himself as Yoruba. Rather, he saw himself as Ijisha, Ekiti, Ife, Ijebu, Oyo.
Dr. Majid. But something I've realized here is this. Number one is, the rich and influential understand the fact that, look, it's not about where you come from. It's not about the language you speak. Largely, it's your capacity.
Simple.
It's your capacity. And I think that's the moral of this episode. It is your capacity.
Your shared humanity.
In fact, you know what? Let's just make it easy. It's your ability to share.
Simple.
Your ability to share. Because
this thing has valued us so much that it has reduced our potentials. So the British man simply learned from his own experience to say, well, we were like this once. They brought us together. We have become a mighty nation today that is outgoing. So let us put these people together. I'm sure with time they also learn and become outgoing. So India learned, came together, blended their identities. And today they have become so outgoing that they have displaced even Britain as the fifth largest economy in the world. Nigeria has not been able to learn from the colonial masters' experience. Enough to know that, okay, this is something that was essential for our development. You may not like it, it's not palatable, but we need to have been colonized to bring us up to speed with modern realities. I say this because you see the British people that colonized us. If you think Nigeria is diverse because you have Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, well, the British people were as diverse as that. But they came under an umbrella of British identity. As the time Nigeria was being amalgamated, King George V, that was the king of England, was of Germanic origin. Yes. The man who went to the Berlin Conference with the most treaties out of the Niger area territory to negotiate Nigeria for Britain amongst their broader European countries.
He's not even a British man.
No, he was Scottish. He's George Goldie.
Yeah. George Goldie, yes. I know.
The one that came here and amalgamated us and did the enforcement is one that's from England, Lord Lugard. Then his girlfriend or wife.
That later gave the name.
Is Irish.
But all was done in the interest.
That's later they have achieved that level of social cohesion and national unity enough
that
to bet a British nation that was outgoing to conquer the rest of the world and conquer territories across Africa, South America, North America, Asia, Middle East, that was thousands of times larger than the British territory, and became the most powerful country or nation on earth as at that time.
Dr. Majid, we're going to continue on the next episode. We will be talking about, so we just successfully connected us through our culture practices. But again, we are still not, we are not living that pre-colonial, but this time we are going to talk, we'll be talking about our next episode. We'll be talking about our beliefs.
Yes.
Did we have beliefs? Did we share beliefs? Because if, yes, we agree, you can travel from here to there and you hold on to your beliefs. Did your guests, did they accept your belief? Did you meet something that looks like your already existing belief where you moved to? So we need to connect everything on the level of belief. On our next episode, Dr. Majid, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We'll be doing this again. So when we come back, the question will be, where did we stop? We'll continue from where we stopped. Thank you, everybody. Meet us on the next episode. Don't forget, subscribe, like, comment. Thank you. We're out.